welcome to my presentation. Today, I would like to talk to you about a growing concern that not only affects myself and you, but people that you know and care about. The concern I am referring to is the development of an ever-growing gap between younger and older people in terms of technology use and understanding. The first step to solving any problem is to identify what the problem is that needs to be solved. In this case, our problem would be, how well does the older generation know how to use newer technology? Sadly, the answer to this thus far is not very well. I'm sure all of you can think of someone in your life, more specifically someone older, that seems to be behind the technological learning curve, as it were. A good example of this would be when Professor Bonilla described his own endeavors of this topic with his mother. What would seem like a simple video chat on Skype to us turned out to be much more cumbersome for someone who doesn't fully understand how an application like that works. In an effort to help you understand more of what I'm talking about, I will be addressing 4 categories that the older generation seems to be having the hardest time coping with. These categories are computers, smartphones, video gaming, and social networks. Let's start off with computers. Computers are ever developing, being able to do more and more things every day, it seems. Emails, video games, Excel sheets, social networks, the list seems endless. I'm sure that most, if not all of you, found computers to be somewhat overwhelming and troublesome the first time you encountered them. This may still be true to this day. Luckily for you, you have people that you can go to for help if need be, such as Professor Bonilla or the wonderful Internal Technologies Department here on campus. But does this hold true for the older generation as well? Not unless they are a student at Sacramento State. The majority of older persons simply do not have the resources available to them, for the most part, to help them understand how computers operate and all the different functionalities they can possess. Now that I've talked about computers, I would now like to talk about smartphones. Smartphones are just as technologically advanced as computers, it seems, being able to do a number of functions that computers can. Cell phone use, which smartphones would fall under, has grown exponentially. After 20 years of being on the market, roughly 85% of adults in America have cell phones, according to Claire Miller of the New York Times. This statistic is most prevalent in this very classroom, as I'm sure most of you have a cell phone or smartphone and that use it on a daily basis. Being able to use a technology such as a smartphone every day helps you to develop a sense of learning and understanding of that technology. Now let me ask you a question. How many older people do you see on a smartphone on a daily basis? And for that matter, how many older people do you know that even have a smartphone? In some cases of technology use and understanding, such as telephones, if a person does not learn how to use a certain technology, it is simply because they do not need nor want to. Now that I've talked about smartphones, let's move on to the next category, video gaming. Video gaming is an activity that is enjoyed not only by younger people, but older people as well. According to a study by the Pew Research Center, 53% of adults ages 18 and up play video games. Out of all the age groups that make up video gamers, in the group of 65 and older, 23% of that age group play video games. Now, while this might not seem as significant as the 19 to 29 age group, where 81% of that group plays video games, what is interesting is that the 65 and older group play video games more frequently than any other age group in this study. Video gaming, like I said before, is an activity that is enjoyed by all age groups and can be both mentally and socially stimulating, and can lead to increased capacity in both. Last but not least is the category of social networks. From its inception in 2005 to the present, social networking has grown by leaps and bounds. The group that most predominantly uses social networking sites is people in the 18 to 29 age group, with 83% of that group using said sites. Coming up on the other end of the spectrum, out of all the people of the 65 and older age group, only 33% of these people use social networking sites. Another significant difference between the groups is that of motivation for using these networking sites. Motivation for people 55 and older is to stay in touch with family, while people in the 55 and younger category feel staying in touch with friends is more important. There are definite differences in the priorities between the age groups, but with those differences there is potential for a common ground to be met in terms of talking and discussing said differences with members of another age group and developing understanding between each other. With all the information that has been provided to you today, I can only hope that you can take something from this and give back to someone who has given much to you. As an added bonus, I recommend going to this website and taking a short quiz that will help you better understand what kind of technology user type you are. With this knowledge, you can find out what your strengths and weaknesses are and use these in your efforts to help others.